Now
There
you
it
should.
is. Okie dokie. All right.
Well, thank you very much for joining us all today. This is Values Plus AI Equals Impact. I'm Rhonda Bowen, the host, and today is May 14th, 2025, and it is 7 p.m. CET. And we're here and hoping that a few more people will be joining us, but wonderful one-on-one conversations are also nice, and welcome to all of you who are also watching the recording. So I'm going to ask Donna just to tell a little about who she is and what she does and why it's important for her to think about values and what AI could do to help her increase her impact in the world from what she's doing. And then we will get into looking at some questions or figuring out how we can support each other.
Thanks, Rhonda. I appreciate that. I work with executives and business owners, understanding better, raising their awareness as to who they are in what they do. And I'll give you a graphic example. This morning I was working with a client who's in a multi-billion-dollar organization, and they're doing a complete overhaul of how the organization is perceived by the community. And she's running a lot of information by me. And I'm always helping them understand, how do you go in through the heart in a legitimate way, in a genuine way, which appeals to people because they remember how, like Maya Angelou, it's not what you said, it's how you made a person feel that they remember most. And that goes direct, and how you put your words together has to be based on something. And our core drivers are our values, whether we know them or not. So to me, when I work with my clients, whether they're doing their core values for themselves or for their business, there's a broader picture that they have to look at. It's not just, how do we want the employees to do the best work and productivity so we can make our owner richer? It's, what is our reason for being? And how can we take the resources that we have, whether it's people or money, and do good or do the right thing even when nobody's watching, consistently, to the point where people, it's a memorable time to be with this organization, even if they leave for whatever reason. When they flash back, they say, I really valued my time at XYZ company because of ABC. So leading from the inside out has become progressively more important to me, and helping my executives and small business owners do the same thing, because at the end of the day, that makes them more successful in their careers, have a more fulfilling home life, and makes an impact on lives that they may not even know they touch. So that's why attending this is important to me, because it's critically important that, like the Claude CEO said in a recent article, that these AI tools are getting so artificially smart that if we don't know how to rein them in, they will run rampant. And like a unruly 2-year-old, they know not what they do. And we don't, like in healthcare, they take oaths, do no harm. We don't want AI to be something that we all fear. It's to help us be, ultimately, my aspiration is be better human beings, create a better world, and do no harm at the same time.
Wonderful. And while you were speaking, Noma from South Africa has joined us. Noma, can you either unmute or turn on your camera, or both, and tell us a little about who you are, what you're doing, and how values play a role in your life, and how you hope that AI could help you have a bigger impact?
Let's see.
There you are. Nice to see you. Yeah.
Good evening, Rhonda, and everyone who's on the platform. Thank you for allowing me in to be part of this session. What do values play? What role do values play in our work? I think, let me just close the door. Just give me a second. The question was, what role do values play in our work? Without values, I think we would be scattered, we wouldn't have direction, and purpose would be lost. So, for me, Paula's work is very much value-centered. We value people, we value their essence, we value their heritage, we value the fact that they've got solutions to their own challenges. And what role could AI potentially play in terms of, I think AI could possibly help us to be more efficient in terms of our work. We draft a lot of documents and reports. I see a space where AI could help us in terms of efficiently drafting those reports, also enhancing our knowledge because information is at your fingertips, just keeping tab in terms of the trends that are taking place globally. Yeah, just helping us to be more efficient. I believe it would help us in that regard. Yes.
Very good. And you two ladies haven't met before, but I've met both of you. So that is very nice that you're getting the chance to meet here as well. So do either of you have either a particular question or something you'd like to find out about a special tool or something that we can actually call up on screen and possibly find a good way to support you with something today?
I do,
Um,
Rhonda. Or Noma, go ahead if you have one.
No, on my side, no, I just would like to listen in and just take in the knowledge from those who know more about the subject.
But feel free to, if something comes up and you'd like to ask a question and you'd like us to look at a tool or something when you notice something, please ask, because that's what we're here for. Donna, you were mentioning
Thank you.
something about your client and
Yeah, a client mentioned something, and I think the name of the tool is called podcast.ai. Not sure.
Okay.
But she said it uses Google Notebook. She didn't say Google Notebook LM, but she's getting this information secondhand from somebody that went to a conference. And
Okay.
what this particular tool does is you pose the question of what you want to learn about, and it compiles the information into an audio format. And it also gives you the references as to the sources of the information. This is a
Okay.
quote. She said it felt a little
Notebook.
creepy.
Well, what you just said brought up three different tools for me. So let's go through that one by one and see what we find depending on what we're coming up with. So I hadn't heard the term podcast AI myself before, but I just went online and searched it. And
Mhm.
so we will take a look and then you will see if you think that's what she might have been referring to. This is Podcast AI, so it has the name, so I assume we're in the right place.
Okay.
And you notice it says entirely generated by artificial intelligence, meaning there are no people on here.
Mhm.
So obviously, Joe Rogan is not interviewing Steve Jobs at the moment because Steve Jobs is no longer with us, but it seems that it's pulling everything it can find from wherever and making it into a podcast.
Oh, so the audio technically is a podcast.
Yes, from what it sounds like. Well, let's just listen a little bit. I don't know this.
This podcast is brought to you by Play.ht. All content is generated by artificial intelligence. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, freak bitches. Welcome to another episode of the Bro Jogan Experience. And
Okay, so that sounds like Joe Rogan, obviously, but Steve Jobs is no longer with us, but there were plenty of things online, with videos and whatever from Steve Jobs. So I'm sure it's very easy for them to pull all of that together. And now you have Oprah and you have all these other nice people down here. So it is producing podcasts that don't exist by doing everything artificially, from the way I understand it. But as I said, just because you haven't been here before, Noma, tomorrow you'll be getting an email and you'll get an invitation into the community. And we have a list of all of these different tools that we look at, not only the ones from today, but from all of them. So these will all be, everything we look at today will be included in the list, and you'll have access to that there. Okay. So this one I had never heard of, but thank you very much. Now that has come in. The way you might like to do this when you said something about Google is, this is something we've looked at on this group before, but this is an interesting thing because if you come up with your own notebook, you do that by putting in the sources that you want it to refer to. So these are PDFs, these are websites, some of them my own, some of them others. And then I can ask all the questions as you normally do when you're in any kind of this thing. But what this does is that it also makes its own podcast. So what it's doing is taking all of that information and all of the things it has gleaned from that, and it will take a moment for this to start. But there are then a female voice and a male voice talking about me, basically. So just take a listen.
All right, so today we're diving deep into something pretty cool. What makes communication really, really work? Like not just like passing on info, but actually making people understand and, like get going and do stuff.
Yeah. A lot of us think we're pretty good at communicating, but have you ever felt like, you're just throwing words out there and just hoping that they stick?
Oh yeah, all the time. It's like, is anybody out there actually getting it? And that's kind of where our deep dive today comes in. We've got a whole stack of materials here from Rhonda L. Bowen. She's like a global communication, guru. She's been helping people connect for over 30 years, from individuals to like huge organizations spanning over.
And we won't go through the whole thing because it takes a very long time. As you can see, it's 20 minutes. But the interesting thing about this is, based on everything that I've put in here of my own work, it then puts this together, and now these two voices talk about it. And the interesting thing, Noma, if you haven't seen this before, is if you're putting in a lot of your, have you seen this before, that it makes the podcast? No. The nice thing that you could do with this, with Fola, is you could put all the nice things in from Mrs. M, and it wouldn't have to be her saying anything. It could just be all the written information you have, your websites, your studies, your reports, all of those things. And these two voices would then speak about it. And the interesting thing about that is when you listen to this whole thing, which I won't have us do, obviously, I hear how other people, to artificial intelligence people in this case, talk about my material, the way they express it, the words they use, what they think is interesting. And that gives you very interesting insights into how somebody externally sees what it is that you're putting in there. So I don't know, Donna, because you mentioned Google, and this is a Google tool.
Right.
And it's not the thing before, but it's something where you have control over it because you put in the sources. It's not like the one we just saw just a moment ago. All right. And
I see that, yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if you really want to know the sources of things, then you use this tool, which is called Perplexity. And so we had another one this morning, but we will just say something really interesting. How many positions did Steve Jobs have in his professional life? Okay, so I mean, that's obvious because we know that he is no longer with us. So this is definite that we could figure this out. And when you ask this question, you watch what happens on the screen. So you get pictures of Steve Jobs in this case, but it is looking through very many different backgrounds. And so it is giving you this list, which is what we asked for. What positions did he have? It gives you extra questions you might like to ask about things that come from that. But the most important thing is you get the sources. So when you click on sources, these are all of the websites that Perplexity used to make the answer for this question. So you get to see and could go in and click on these links and get more details. So this is not what many people talk about when you talk about AI. Many people say, oh, it just makes something up. It just invents something, which in AI terms is called hallucination. Perplexity does not hallucinate because it tells you exactly where it's getting things from. So if you're looking for things where you need the source, where you need to go back and be able to check on things, then Perplexity is a very good tool to be using for that. Maybe that will help you as well, Oma and Noma. And I'd like to say hi to Anita. Glad you could join us. Maybe she can't speak at the moment. That's okay. I'll stop sharing my screen for a moment, ladies. And Donna, did that help with the question?
Yeah, that did, because I did reference, I couldn't remember it was Perplexity. I did reference this morning that, there was an AI tool to verify, because I created something in Claude a couple of weeks ago, and it was quoting stats, and I wanted to know where Claude got the stats from, and it did supply me the information, because I always want recent information.
Mhm.
But I did try Napkin AI this week,
Oh,
and I didn't realize, but you mentioned it was in its beta state.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always resistant to go into a product using my Google email address and login. I like to keep everything independent. It was being so incredibly stubborn. It would not let me create an account. So I acquiesced and let it go in through my Google account, and it let me do it. So then I realized the beta might have been a glitch potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And it did create, it was a little, I have some tech savviness about me, so it was had minimal explanation on how to even do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured out, the style and font and whatnot, and put my brand colors in, and it did give me options, and I could create styles, and it's about as far as I took it. But it kept on saying something to the effect of, when I tried to create an account, that it was really busy and try again later.
Oh, okay.
For some reason.
That could always be everything with AI, depending on what stage it's at and how many people have just recently found out about it. That can happen. Just so you know what we're talking about, Noma, we will share a napkin with you as well. So this is a system where you put in text and it changes it into visuals. So if you look here at this graphic, you see what it's doing. It is giving you all different kinds of ways to look at things. So first of all, you put in a text, whatever that is, and then you ask it, and it now starts making all these different kinds of visual images for you to talk about what's in the text. And Donna and I had been in a call before where we had talked about this. And so that's why we're reviewing that again, but I haven't signed in. Let's just see what happens when we go in here, what it does. And it wouldn't let you sign in with a regular email?
If you click on don't have an account, sign up, that's where I had the problem. I didn't want to go in through my Google.
All right, let's just see.
And I did my name, my email, I created a password, and then it just got a red flag.
All right, let's see what happens, because I just did the same thing. Okay, a verification code, that's obvious. We need to they need to make sure it's us.
Yeah, I didn't even get that far. I wouldn't even let me get that far.
All right, but now I'm that far. And there's our nice code that we have to put in. And let's see if it works.
Yep, it did for you.
Mm-hmm.
It did for you.
You must have been out at a bad time of day.
Must have been.
Yeah,
Must have been. But let me ask you this. I guess if I had created an account, I'd have to use different information, because chances are it would say there's an account that already exists with that. If I had to use a different, email address.
You would need to use another email address, et cetera, et cetera.
All right.
Yeah, I would guess, but because I said I hadn't done an account here before, so I'm just doing one now, and now everybody can watch, and we can see what other kinds of things. And I would say this and watch what happens. Okay, and now we're ready to go. So you must have, it's, you know, it's like people have good days and bad days. I guess AI has good days and bad days as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I'll tell you something else it was a little stubborn with. It was using a shade that I didn't put in my brand kit for some
okay.
reason.
Yeah.
And I could not get rid of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I thought I got rid of it, but then it created the infographic type thing, and there it was again. So again, I realized it's in the beta stage. It was coming up with this gray color, and it wasn't using the blue color I was putting in. So maybe it was just reading it wrong. But just two little glitches I noticed. But then I remember that you said it was in the beta state.
Yeah.
And I don't know what point it's going to actually go completely non-beta,
Yeah, we'll
whatever
see.
that is.
Anita, can you hear us? We can see your photograph, but we can't hear you at the moment. Can you say something? I guess not. I got your email. You were looking at the calendar inside Compolium. The calendar that has all of this in it is the ad event calendar, but we can look at that some other time in the future. If you could come on and say anything, we'd love to help you with whatever you're looking at today. Okay, obviously that's not working. Noma, tell us what else could be interesting for you to look at. We've looked at lots of different, very different things, but maybe there's something else that we could find that would be helpful for you.
Well, maybe looking at the ability to take different, what is this? Maybe, well, you've just shown us text to word, and you've just shown us maybe text to visual. I'm just thinking of another. So can you convert maybe words into music or
Oh,
something?
yes.
I'm not
Oh,
too
yeah.
sure. This is me being playful in my mind.
No. This is, let me think if I can think of the name. It's not making words into, can't think of the name. Hold on. It'll pull it up in a moment. So, where is it?
I'm learning music. I'm learning how to read music. So I think that would be
okay.
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm seeing lots of the ones in here that I don't know, and I'd rather, there it is. Okay. Now I've got it. Hold on. So this is the one that I've seen people use in things online. Anita, nice to see that you could make it. So glad you're here. And we are looking at how to create music. So this, what you do is you give it some kind of a prompt, and it actually then makes music to fit with that. So you can say you like jazz, you like country, you like classic, you like whatever, and then you talk about what it is that you want the song to be about. So what kind of music do you like? Oh, no, might give us a style of music that you like.
I think jazz. Jazz.
Okay, so create a jazz song about what? Give us a topic then.
About a warm, cozy, about a girl who's pining for the love of her life, for example.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. I don't know if it would know the word pining.
Yearning.
Yeah. So now we will see what happens.
Alrighty.
Okay. So we have to sign up because I don't have an account. All right. So now I know why that doesn't work. Okay. And we'll just go ahead and put this in. See what happens.
So I was going to text you a code
Now I need a code. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, here you go. Two-step verification.
Two-step everything. Yes, isn't it
Yes.
wonderful? All right. So it has sent me a code. That's the nice thing about seeing these things with people who use them all the time. It makes it so much easier. So this is the code. 8951888. 95188. Okay. So we're verified. And now I hope we can hear our song. The song for Noma.
This is amazing.
Mhm. So they're calling it Looking for Love. All right. And I think we can hear it here.
I can't hear it, Rhonda. Do you have audio share on the Zoom
I
call?
can hear.
Do the rest of you hear it or not?
No, we
No,
don't. I
you
don't.
No.
Okay, wait one second. I have to stop sharing it.
That's setting in
Don't forget.
Zoom.
Yeah.
I always forget that too.
Yeah. I have too many windows open. Hold on one second. I
I always forget where it is too.
don't know where it is. I just have to find it. Not recording. There's the share button. Options. Share sound. There we go. Now I've got it. Okay. Now I want to try one more time. Thank you. I'm not usually the sound person. So we'll start. We'll go back to the beginning because you missed the intro. Oop. Oh, come on. You have to miss the intro.
In a city that never dims its light,
Hear it.
wanders the streets beneath the night, hoping to find someone who'll ignite the spark.
What you wanted,
This is
Noma?
amazing.
Oh my gosh, she has a beautiful voice, and that was such a nice jazz theme in the background. Oh
And
my
right on
gosh.
target with, right
Look
on
at how
target
the-
with the topic.
The topic was create a jazz song about a girl looking for the love of her life.
Looking for love.
Yeah.
I'm amazed.
Look at Noma smiling. I love it when people smile like that. We found the right tool for Noma today. That's really, really great.
Interesting.
You know, I know someone that he's all about jazz. I forget the name of his company. I wonder if he knows about this because he has like a jazz website.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if he even knows about this. I'll share that
But I
with
mean,
him.
you can put in anything.
Exactly.
I've heard reggae with this. I've heard country with this. I've heard various things when this gentleman always uses this is the beginning of things. He always asks somebody in the audience, you know, how should we start out today? And they give him this line, and he often starts his presentations like this to have background music.
Oh my gosh. So, you know, the deeper question is, this is a brand new, never heard before song
Yes.
versus, okay. And that means whoever creates it would this be Noma's property after she creates
Kinda.
it?
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, it'd be my property because my name is on the
It's
account.
your
although
who are the account holder?
but,
It would be the account holder's property. Okay.
But I mean, the problem with IP with a lot of things at the moment with AI, IP, you know, intellectual property is a huge, huge discussion about just because you write things in there, did you actually create this? No, you just gave it the prompt. There are all kinds of discussions going on in the legal world about this at the moment. So I won't make any definite statements about that. I'm very good friends with a copyright expert, and you know she's looking into all the things that are going on in various courts around the world, you know, about how this works. So I don't know if you would own it. I would always, at the moment, I would always cite everything and say we're using on everything we do now online, always the hashtag. We talk about made with NIHIAI, so made with natural intelligence, human intelligence, and artificial intelligence is our new hashtag.
Go through those letters again, please. Made with
NI, natural intelligence.
okay.
HI, human intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And AI, artificial intelligence. So no matter what it is that we create, nobody can come back later and say, you didn't say that it was just something that Rhonda wrote or, whoever. So
Natural,
that's the hashtag.
human, and artificial.
Yeah, we're using the hashtag on that for everything that we do at the moment, just to make sure that people know that, yes, we are saying that this isn't all just made from one human brain.
So what I
reason why I
use
say
that
that-
because I'm impressed with what Napkin AI is. It Napkin AI or Napkin IO?
Napkin AI, we just looked at that a minute ago. Yes, it'll be. You'll see it.
And I couldn't speak at that moment, but I'm impressed with what Napkin AI can produce. Therefore, I wonder the same question with that. It's like creating a song based on Noma's instruction or your instructions, since it's your account. I'm wondering if any graphics that I create with the help of AI, because I am totally impressed with every feature that I use of AI, and I doubt if I've even scratched the surface of all the capabilities.
Well, that's true. I mean, I certainly haven't either, but the thing to remember about when you're using something like Napkin is it has to have your content to be able to just change the form. So like when we use Notebook LM, it's your content, you are adding the ideas, and it is just putting it into a different form. What we did with the song was there wasn't very much, it was one line about what Noma wanted to have inside the song. And of course, it was coming up with lots of things all by itself. When you do imagery, when you use Dolly or Leonardo or Midjourney or, all of these things, you're putting in ideas, but the way it actually looks is something totally different. So there seems to be a distinction between artistic things, which are real creations, versus Napkin AI, where it is your information, it's just being shown in a different way. And therefore,
okay, now you said Napkin. Is it Napkin AI or IO?
Napkin AI. Mm-hmm.
Oh, AI.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a thought, Rhonda. I have a client who has a podcast and an online academy, and he has background music, which personally I don't care for. It's not, oh my goodness. He could create, hypothetically, his own theme song. You know how game shows always have their own theme song? He could create his own theme song, and then he wouldn't have to worry about buying rights to whatever the song is and being stuck with limited. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell him about this. Thank you, Noma, for just playing and dreaming that one up. That was outstanding.
Thank you, Rhonda, for tricking my brain. Tell me, Rhonda, what's what is this? Natural intelligence?
Well, you know a lot about this, being the fact that you live in a country that has so many wonderful animals and plants and things. I grew up on a farm in the U.S. Many
So did I.
Oh, yeah. And I remember all the things that I learned by interacting with animals, because we had cows and chickens and dogs and cats and, all the things you have on the farm. But there are some wonderful things going on. I've mentioned to all of you at some point that last year I was at the AI for Good Summit of the United Nations in Geneva, and I'm going again this summer in July. And there are wonderful things that you can see online about how people are now looking into the way that animals and plants not only live and survive and thrive, but also the way they communicate, and especially the way they communicate with each other. And I saw the most wonderful video the other day, for example, where there was a pole, like a lamp post, in the middle of a table, and on either side there was a plant in a pot, and it was a bean plant, and there were two of them, and the pole was in the middle. And they showed in what's it called in English, when you show things very quickly with film?
Short?
No, the opposite of slow motion. The
speeding up. Yeah,
the
speeding up.
accelerated version, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. they showed these two plants. So they started and they grew out of their little pot, and you could see them growing. You know, the way bean stalks grow, they have these long, curly kinds of thing. Both of them started growing toward this pole. And one of them got there first. And when the one got to the pole and started working around the pole, because it gave it more hold, it was easier, it was stabilizing for this plant. The other plant stopped growing toward the pole, it started growing in the other direction.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
It knows that the other plant is there,
It's
and it's not
occupied.
going to clash.
Territorial.
Yeah.
So it demonstrates intelligence in even plants.
Yes.
Not just animals.
Yes.
You know,
Not
there's
just animals, also plants.
we're created on the 6th day, and then animals were
Yeah.
created on the 5th day, and plants were created on the 4th day, supposedly.
Yeah.
But plants have IQ.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you.
Time lapse.
Time lapse.
Time lapse. It just
Thank you very
occurred
much.
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
My brain saw it happening as you were describing it.
No, and it's
Um,
absolutely wonderful because, you know, all these things about, and I work with I don't have very many plants because I don't have a very green thumb, but I have this wonderful plant in my office. And every time I go now and take out sort of the dried up dead leaves that are out of it, I always stop and think about, I'm doing that because it gives more space for the rest of the live leaves, you know, the ones that are doing well, to have their space and make sure I water it. And now that I know that those kinds of things exist, I don't talk to plants. A lot of people do that. I don't do that. But there are studies. There was a study done by the BBC, or it was documented by the BBC, a lady who said a forest has one or sometimes more than one of what they're calling a mother tree. And it's one that has the connections to all the other trees in the forest. And if you, for some reason, take down that mother tree, or it gets hit by lightning, or, you know, something happens, and it's no longer there, the forest doesn't thrive. And so there are all these wonderful things now about plants, which is why we're just saying in our company, the most important thing is we look at all three kinds of intelligence when we're co-creating something, because there's great ways to learn from nature, from people, and from artificial intelligence. And we need to be putting that all together.
I have a question for you.
Rhonda,
Go ahead, Noma.
Okay, you can go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just wondering, we're talking about natural intelligence. How does it link up with artificial intelligence? Is there a way of illustrating that?
Yes. As I said, I was in Geneva last year, and I walked up to a stand where the exhibitors were around in the building. And there was a man standing there and had this stuffed toy that looked like a seal. And this seal had fur, and it was cute, and it was fuzzy, and its eyes moved, and its fins moved, and all these things. But what this was being used for was it was mimicking what a seal would do, but at the time that you give it to a child and you let the child play with this and interact with it, and by the things that it does and by the reactions that the child shows, it diagnoses medical conditions in the child.
This is a stuffed seal.
Yes. It's about this big. You can actually pick it up and play with it. Yeah.
And it can detect what
I don't know all the
like
medical details, but what it does is that it detects the way the child interacts with it and makes a diagnosis on the child's condition based on the way it interacts.
Okay, my next question is, can it advise on how to cure that ailment that it detected?
I would assume that's the next step that comes afterwards. I was only there for a few moments to see what it was, but yes. And that's what I'm saying. There are wonderful ways that things are working together now. It is absolutely fascinating.
This is way out on the limb of this, what you just shared, but I have a cousin who has been affected by multiple sclerosis or muscular dystrophy. Excuse me, I get those two mixed up. Muscular dystrophy. And his condition is declining. Say it very briefly. Is there any hope through AI's amazing possibilities? There may be cures for things such as that. I'm not asking that immobile people will be able to walk again.
Oh, yes,
But,
that already exists. Immobile people can walk again.
But for
There
my
are
cousin,
there are
Right.
exoskeletons that
Yeah.
a person can actually wear and they can walk. I saw that last year in Geneva as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
how would I go about searching to provide any help to my cousin who has multiple sclerosis?
I'll
mean,
get back.
muscular dystrophy.
Yeah, I will look that up and I will put it in the notes when I send the email tomorrow, so you'll be able to find it. I don't know. I don't remember the name of the company. It was last year. I'll have to go back to the website and see if I can find it.
That
But
would
there
be
was
amazing.
a lady, I watched her stand up and walk, and she hadn't walked in years. And she was quadriplegic, so she really hadn't walked in years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't want to take up this time.
I'm not a medical professional, so I can't give you all the kinds of information on that, but yeah.
No, but just knowing about the resources and the capabilities of AI.
Oh, yeah.
There is something that I'm doing right now that I have to agree to several things in confusing documents.
Mhm.
And as recent as yesterday, I maxed out my use the day before on what's today? Today's Wednesday. So on Monday, I maxed out my time on free Chat GPT.
Mhm.
Someone calls it Chappy. So I maxed out my time on Monday and it says you've maxed out your time. You can't use free Chat GPT until 3:09 p.m. on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, based on my schedule, I wasn't home at 3:09.
Mhm.
So I just logged on around 9:30 last night to continue the work that I was saying, please simplify these complicated paragraphs in this legal document. And I reached within about, 40 minutes last night, 9:30 to 10, 15, 45 minutes. I maxed out my time, but you know what? Here's the secret. I kept on going and it didn't stop. It didn't stop helping me, even though it said it maxed out my time. So I'm eager to understand this. My little question is, do you know, Rhonda and Donna, do you know if Stephen has already started creating a matrix, or have you, Rhonda, of if I want to do something like turn text into graphics, which AI tool do I use?
That's already on Compolium. Let me show you. That's already there, and you haven't had a chance to see this yet. No,
haven't.
so I'll show you this. Hold on 1 second. I've just got to pull it up again. I've got too many things open when I do this, so I have to make sure I find the right ones. Here we go. So, Noma, you'll be getting an email tomorrow. Everybody will get an email tomorrow to look at things that we do, and in there will be a place for you to have an invitation to be on this platform. And once you sign up and email address, all the things we just did with Donna with Napkin, you will come to this page. And this is the group on this platform that is helping us with this. And you will be able to see, for example, as soon as we get them all done, we will upload all the videos from today. So you'll be able to see the 2 sessions that you missed earlier today, Noma, when you didn't get a chance to come. But the important thing you'll be able to see is you can fill in information about yourself, and people will be able to find out how to contact you if you're interested. But if not, you also have the chance to go in here and see our database. And what we do is every time we have a session, plus anything that people add also in the platform, we have everything grouped. So this is things for productivity. This is images. These are resources for videos. These are websites with resources. So you get a short description, you get what it is, you get the link. And this is all in here, and we update this every single time somebody goes in and uses it, so you have access to all these tools. And the ones that we've discussed today, I'll be putting in then tomorrow. So when the email goes out, you'll have access to this. So when you come into the group, all you have to do is look for at the top of the page this thing that says materials database. And everything is in there that we've ever discussed in this group.
Materials database.
Yeah.
I need to reserve time just to explore this because I logged on and joined, set up an account. I think it was last Friday, right after Stephen's our last weekly mastermind call. I logged on, created an account, but I didn't do anything until 30 minutes before this.
That's fine. That's one of the reasons to be here, that we get to check those things out again. But That's
But-
the nice thing, that you can go in anytime and look at all the old recordings. Sometimes people I put in from time to time new things that I see that are interesting. Charles, who's the founder of World Values Day but couldn't come today because he's traveling, put in something from Cambridge about ethics and AI. You know, you can just add things as you find them. It's just like being in Facebook or something. But it's totally private. So it's a service I pay for. You don't have to worry about your data going anywhere. Yeah,
I'm curious what was the key point or points of Charles's
that was a
comment or
long time
article
ago
about
that I,
ethics?
but you'll look in the list and you will see it in there. You'll be able to see it as a website resource. I
And
don't
so
remember
is it
all
a
the.
video or an article?
No, it's an article. It's a very long, wonderful article. That's why I don't remember all the details. But you'll
And
find
what
it.
is Charles's last name if I go in and search for him?
No, go in and search in the database and just look for under the resources section. Let me just see if I can find it. It's
And the
called.
database is called Materials, right?
This is the materials one, and it is, where is it? Law ethics and AI, and the note is a handbook from Cambridge University, and the link is in there as well.
You put did you put the link in the chat, or did
No,
you say?
no, I'm just showing you. When you go in tomorrow, then you'll be able to see it.
I'm not seeing anything yet. Okay, now I see a screen share starting.
So, law, ethics, and AI. Here's the link, and it's a handbook from Cambridge University on how to do this. So you just go in and click on this link, and it will open.
I saw ethical garden.
Yeah. So this
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll be able to check on that. So, and that's something Charles added. So I don't have all the details on that, but he'll be there
And
next month, I think.
back to my question, you said just go into the database. Once I get to the home page, it's not called database, it's called materials, right?
Called materials database. Take a look
Materials
again.
database. Okay, got it. Okay, perfect. That answers my question.
When you open,
I just want to know, is it under the name database on the home page, or is it under something different?
it's a featured article, and it's
Got
called
it.
materials database.
I see that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Excellent.
I have kind of an off the wall question for you.
Okay.
There's some significant species that are endangered, and sadly, primates are in there.
Mhm.
Chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans. What can AI do to help with reversing that?
Well,
Or
I am not a researcher by any matter of means, but I know some of the things. One of the gentlemen last year in Geneva spoke about how they are now understanding how whales communicate with each other. Everybody hears about whale songs and things like that, but what they've now been able to do is say that whales, when they speak to each other, they have names for each other, and they know how to talk about a whale that is not with them in the third person. You know, so when we're sitting here, and Donna and Anita and I all know a gentleman named Stephen Noma, for example, and when we sit here and talk about Stephen, you don't know who Stephen is, but we all know who Stephen is. The whales know about the whales that are not there and call them by name.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, I don't know about primates because this gentleman in part of the talk that I saw wasn't talking about primates. What I'm saying is they're being able to gather so much more information now about possible ways to improve things. Noma, maybe you know more about that because your part of the world is very much into animals. No? Okay.
No.
Noma's from South Africa. And as I said, I was there last year, and she and I just met in London this year. But the beautiful animals that live in South Africa that don't live where any of the rest of us live, it's absolutely wonderful. And I'm sure there are great, research and scientific measures that are going out and checking in those things, Donna. But that's a question for next time for you to look at in Perplexity.
Okay.
Put that in
Okay.
there and see if you could come up with some
That's
resources that
it.
would help you with that, because I personally don't know anything about that. And I'm also just looking at the clock because I promised you ladies a half an hour and I've taken much more of your time. Not that I have a problem with that, but I just wanted to let you know in case you had another appointment. Not that I was the one making you late to whatever. You're my last appointment today, so I don't have to worry about that. But is there anything else in particular that I can do for you? As I said, I will be sharing all of these things tomorrow. So you will get an email once everything is uploaded onto the platform, when my gentlemen are finished with all the videos and everything. You'll be getting an email. You'll be able to log into Compolium if you aren't in there already, and you'll be able to go through and see all of the videos from today. Plus, you'll also be able to see how you can look at the database and find the various things that we've referred to.
Okay.
And
Rhonda?
music and whatever, for example, today, because of what Noma has asked about. So that'll be nice. We'll have the music app in there as well. Yes, Anita. Yeah.
Rhonda, on a separate note, I don't want to take time precious time from Donna and Noma, but I have just finished last week. I participated in 3 full days of Suzanne Evans talking about how to be a great speaker. I never mentioned, it was never appropriate for me to mention my participation in Stephen's mastermind group on speaking. But I did, I don't want to say milk. I recorded, I noted, I took lots and lots and lots of notes on Suzanne's advice on how to be a better how to be a persuasive speaker. And then she offered her I think it was $35,000 training program, to which I said, no, thank you. I have a call in about a half hour with one of her reps or one of her salespeople on what they're wanting to sell me that. I'm not going to be buying that, but I'm wondering if I could summarize my questions to you on how I keep feeling torn between 2 target audiences in relaunching my company. But they've said, get real specific. The more specific, the more simple you are, the more success you will have. So I think I just need to go back to my name, think of all. And I'm wondering what possibilities, what tools that I don't know of, what AI tools that I don't know of yet that I can use to convert spoken words or typed words into pictures to show people why we need to think of all affected by our choice. Otherwise, we're going to lose our good country.
There are some in there already, but I will put in a couple of other ones because people have asked me for various things today. So I will do text to image. And there are 4 or 5 really big ones on the market that most people are using at the moment. And I'll make sure I put those all in there and they'll be in the database.
Okay.
So they'll be able to see them. Yeah.
And then my other question is a little one. Is it okay to invite someone else who is not in Steve's group?
Anyone can come to this. This is
a lady that I met, on some a couple years ago. There was a Zoom meeting hosted by a company on the East Coast, and one of the participants happened to mention that she lived just 10 miles from me here in California. And we have become good friends, and she's very interested in incorporating AI into her marketing group, her marketing company.
Wonderful. This is an open forum for anybody who would like to come. This is our gift from Bells and World Values Day, just to make sure that people have a chance to come and ask questions. So when you get the email tomorrow, if you would like to forward that to her and put me then in CC so I get a copy, then I will know her name and be able to help her with anything that, since she hasn't been able to come to a live session with us yet. So just let me know that and just forward the email.
What is the website? Is it Values AI?
It's all in the, you'll have it all in the emael tomorrow. It's all listed in there.
Okay, and what is Charles's last name?
Charles' last name is Fowler. That will also be in the email. Yeah.
Fowler.
Yeah. Donna, thank you so much for your question. Yes, June 11th, always the second Wednesday of the month.
Second Wednesday.
And the 3 times, Noma, for you and me, there are 3 times that would work. And for us at the moment, they're exactly the same time. So 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 7 p.m. at the moment, because we're on daylight savings time and you're not. That will change then in the fall. And the ladies are all in the US, so this is the only time they really get to come because the other ones are way too early for them. They're still asleep. But you have a wonderful opportunity because you and I are in the same time zone, so you can have 3 different
Oh,
chats to come
okay.
if you like.
Okay.
Yeah?
Nice.
Very
Can I
good.
just ask you a last question?
Yes,
I'm just
sure.
wondering, can AI create learning modules for you? I'm
Yes.
thinking if I want to do art lessons on charcoal, can I prompt it to create modules for me, and take me through that process of learning how to draw using charcoal, for example?
Okay. I don't know about drawing with charcoal because I'm not an artist, but there are things online, and I'm pretty sure that's in there. I have to just check and make sure.
Or just generic.
No, I've used a system to create courses that you put in information that you would like to have included, and it will actually formulate a course for you. And I have done that, and those 3 courses are now online on an online platform from the European Union that I'm working with at the moment. So I just don't know about the artistic part of it. This is very much factual things, that I put in,
Okay.
but it creates a whole course. But I would assume in the meantime, it could also be if you take a combination of one of the image kinds of things, and then you ask also something like Perplexity, give me all of the things about drawing with charcoal, you may be able to combine those and get something that would work as well, I would think. Yeah.
What AI tool would you use to create the learning modules, or what have you used, Rhonda?
It's a course. I don't know the name off the top of my head, but I've written it down, so that'll be in the
Okay.
list as well. Yeah, and it works
Okay.
extremely well. And we uploaded everything to a platform called Moodle, and this is a tool that actually did things in the Moodle style, so it went one-to-one. We could upload it directly into the platform without any problems. So, but there are many, many of the learning kinds of things online. Very many of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, listen, thanks again. This is always invigorating. The
Mhm.
fastest 30 to 60 minutes of the
Yes,
day.
no, today we did double duty, but that's fine, ladies. I have no problem with that.
I appreciate
Really
your generosity as always, Rhonda.
wonderful.
Ladies,
Thank you
enjoy
so
the
much.
rest of your day, week, whatever time it is, and take good care, and hopefully we'll cross paths next month.
Wonderful. Looking forward to see you again soon, ladies. Take care.
Sounds
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank
Rhonda,
you.
for
Thank you.
organizing this.
Thank you,
May you be
everybody.
blessed back tenfold.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you, Noah.